Okay, in this video we're checking out the Happymodel Sailfly-X. This is one of their newest models here and uses a lot of the parts, I think most of the parts that were in the Mobula 7 and the Mobula 7 HD. So this is sort of their next iteration here for the spring season. No whoops here, no ducks here. Using these bigger 65mm Gemfan propellers, and I'll talk about that more here in a second. The motors on here are the Happymodel branded 1102. 10,000 kV. This is the same motor that's on the Mobula 7 HD. The flight controller on here is the all-in-one, also the one that's in the Mobula 7 HD, but I believe they've upgraded this one. This one is the Crazy F4 Pro V2.1. The one on the Mobula 7 HD is the 2.0, and if you guys remember, the original Crazy F4 Pro V1 was the one that was in the trash can. That was only 1 to 2S, and these newer ones, the V2 and 2.1, are, I believe, 1 to 3S or 2 to 3S. I'm not sure if this will do 1S or not. Definitely do 2S and 3S for sure, and it does come with the all-in-one camera here. Now the main difference between the 2.0 board and the 2.1 board, as far as I can tell, is there is now a plug there, and I'll try and get the camera to show you that. If you look at the plug inside underneath the canopy, the one on the right is the motor plug, and the one just to the left of that is a plug for the all-in-one camera. So there used to be 4 solder points there for power ground, video in, video out, and smart audio I think was also there as well. And just let you know, the board is flipped over 180 degrees, and this one is upside down in this frame versus the Mobula 7 and Mobula 7 HD. But that's as far as I can tell what the difference is between the 2.0 and 2.1 board. For those of you guys that are curious, the ESCs are rated still the same, 2 to 3S or 1 to 3S, a 5 amp continuous and 6 amp burst up to 3 seconds. I don't believe that has changed at all, so that should be the same. Now this came like this, pretty small box here. This particular flight controller right here is the FreeSky version. It does come in Spectrum, FlySky, DSM-X, and no receiver versions as well. And mine came with this battery. This is also one that comes with the Mobula 7 HD, 300 milliamp hour high volt 3S. I don't know if you're going to get that in the plug and play versions or the bind and fly versions. I believe the batteries are still going to separate. I believe they just threw this in for the review. And there's also a couple extra TPU ports here, extra different battery holder. I think this one is a little, looks like perhaps a little smaller, hard to say. Maybe, and it actually looks like it's about the same size. And then you got another TPU canopy here. Now, I think the angle on this one is a little bit higher than the one that is installed. It's very subtle. It's not really easy to tell the difference. It looks about the same to me. One's supposed to be 20 degrees and one's supposed to be 30 degrees, but they look about the same to me. So I'm not sure if there's going to be that much of a difference. If the field of view of the camera is so wide that even a 20-degree camera tilt should be fine for most situations anyway. And then you also get spare props. So you get a bunch of these 65mm Gemfans. You get a prop removal tool, a few spare screws there. I think that's going to be for the motor screws on the bottom. And do check to make sure before you go fly that you tighten those up. A couple of these are a little bit loose on mine, and also check them after a crash or after a few flights. They do tend to loosen up from the vibrations, so keep that in mind. Now this guy here is kind of interesting. It's actually an X frame. Well, it has sort of like these different shape here with these cutouts. It's 109 millimeters motor to motor and 76 millimeters front to back and side to side. So it's a true X frame. Very light, 2mm bottom plate in terms of thickness, and it's extremely light. I think it's coming in like 35 grams. So let's show you the weight here. It's coming in 35 and 5.8 grams. And then throw on the battery, total coming in at about 60.42 grams. Now the thing really, I think this is one of the reasons why I got this video out so quickly is I had a lot of questions about this new model. It probably isn't going to be on sale on Banggood for a little while. I'm thinking mid-May, somewhere in that time frame. Obviously, stay tuned to all my notifications and stuff on my various social media platforms. I will announce it when it actually does go on sale, so you don't miss it. But yeah, thinking about mid-May is when this is actually going to go on sale. It's a pretty good price, I think. For the no receiver version is $85 and $88 for the receiver version. So if you're looking for ultralight, like a racing freestyle type of micro that's really tiny, makes no noise whatsoever. It's really quiet. This is one I think people are eyeing, and it's nice that it comes pre-built like this. You don't have to actually hunt for other parts and stuff like that. Now, the tune on here, let me just talk about that as well. It does come with a version of Betaflight 4.0, but it's an older nightly release from, like, I believe December 11th. I do have some inquiries in with Happymodel as to why they're using such an older nightly build, not a newer one. Because the latest one is on April 11th. This one's actually was formally released. So I'm not sure why they're using such an older version. But I did fly it the way it came to me out of the box with the battery it came with. Now, I'm thinking the 3S battery, when you go full throttle on this battery, you do get some vibrations with the tune that is on here. Now, I'm thinking that they're probably going to update the tune when they do finally get this out to the general public on all the stores and stuff a little bit later. At least that's what I'm thinking that's going to happen. I would hope that they would actually update the tune to the formal 4.0 release from April 11th and then tune it properly to take advantage of the 3S battery. Now I'm not sure if you're going to really be able to take advantage of this 3S battery, because it does seem to fly just as good, if not better, on a 2S LiPo. So I did fly it around on a 450 2S, about the same weight as the 3S 350 here. And the reason is on 3S above, I'd say 70% throttle, somewhere in there, 75% throttle, it doesn't seem like you get too much more power out of the 3S battery, and it just starts shaking. And I think the vibrations do also sap the power at the top end. But it's already really fast, even at 50% power on the 3S, that I didn't really have to go above much above that throttle range to take advantage of the speed or the power. I think there's little tricks you can do, like putting in a throttle limit, for example. I think you could probably do that even on 2S and get better control and more throttle resolution. I'm not going to get into that in this video. I will make another video down the road after I've sort of played around with this. I'm not too happy with the tune that they sent. This is an early release, of course, on a nightly build of 4.0, an older, much older nightly build. So I think this does need a little bit of work. I'm going to try and play around with this some more and see if I can get a better tune out of 4.0 on the actual formal 4.0 release. And I'm kind of thinking I might not even bother with 3S because it's pretty damn fast on 2S as it is. But for you speed demons that want 3S, it will go fast on 3S, but you just can't use the rest of the throttle past about 70-75% of the throttle range on 3S, so keep that in mind on that. Now, what's interesting is that this particular prop here, as I mentioned, isn't new. It's been around for a long time. This is actually a Gemfan 65mm prop with a 1mm prop shaft hole. It was originally designed for brushed motors, specifically 8.5mm brushed motors from way back in the day. So if you guys remember on my channel when I was flying around a bunch of brushed micros with this particular propeller, probably like 2 years ago, it was kind of my dream to have something this light and this much power. And as I recall, from about a little over a year ago, back in March of 2018, I built this guy. Way heavier, of course. Still using the 65mm prop here. The 1103 motor here in this case. This one is an 1103 Racer Star. 10,000 kV, and I was able to fly this on 3S. It's heavier, and it's got this gigantic TPU pod on here. Pretty not very lightweight in terms of the pod itself. I'm using a full size micro camera. It's a 19x19 camera and a full size stack there. It's a 20x20 flight controller and a 4-in-1 AC. And you got a separate receiver and video transmitter in there as well. So yeah, this is like an all-in-one camera on this guy here, plus you get an all-in-one board. for your ESC, flight controller, and receivers. That cuts the weight down hugely compared to this guy. So just give you guys a sort of perspective as to what I was flying earlier back in the day on the same prop. We're talking much more weight, so 63 grams there without the battery, and with the battery. So with the battery, it's coming in at 87.8 grams. Yeah, so even without the battery, this guy's heavier than the new modern day version of it with the battery. So it's even still lighter. So it's pretty amazing the advancements that have occurred in just 1 year's time. So overall, my initial impressions are pretty good. It's got a lot of power, flies really fast in straight lines, and you can do flips and rolls with it. But in terms of the typical type of 5-inch acro maneuvers, freestyle maneuvers you see where you're kind of doing split S's over something and throwing these things over, this doesn't have a lot of mass. So even with the battery at 60 grams, it doesn't have the mass and momentum to carry itself over things. So that kind of freestyle, in terms of 5-inch freestyles, this is probably not really the platform for that. This is going to be more for your, park racing type of thing, if you're into that. Now, yeah, actually, in terms of right now, I don't really have a formal recommendation on this. I still have to, I think I'm going to have to play around with this some more, but the reason I got this video out quicker is that just, a lot of people are asking me what this guy was all about, besides just some of the photos they've seen on the website. And I'll give you a little bit more flight footage of this guy, me flying this around on 2S and 3S. And then, of course, I'll come back later, probably closer to the time when this is released. Hopefully we'll have a better tune on 4.0, a newer version, using some of the better settings, some of the newer features like Demon, for example. Yeah, and we'll see how this thing actually turns out after I've beaten it up for about a month. And then I guess at that point you'll see if it's really worth it or not. We'll see if these motors hold up, if the flight controller will hold up after, I would say in a month from now I probably will have at least 100 to 150 flights on this guy. As of today, only in the last 2 days since I've got this, I've only flown it about 15, 16 times now. And no problems yet, nothing's burned out. I had to have a few crashes, but yeah, all I did was bent this one. This one popped bent, and I bent it back and just kept on flying. So, you can see the flight footage, you can judge for yourself, but it's kind of like, personally for me, I can never tell much just from looking at DVR footage. So I'm just trying to give you my perspective on this guy based on how I felt it flew. So hopefully that flight footage will help you guys out. If not, let me know otherwise in the comments below. And I will have more videos on this coming up soon. And if you have more questions, I'll try and address those in the later videos. Oops.